Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
Well, Phil, one of the favourite people I met on 2020 last year when I was hosting that show is Brad Paterson. He's known as the Shearing Pastor.
Wait a second.
Yes, he's the Shearing Pastor, and he's joining us all the way from WA right now. Brad, welcome to Rise and Shine.
Hey, Andrew, thanks for having me. Nice to be with you.
I love that title. Tell us, what's this Shearing Pastor title all about, Brad?
Well, I'm a full-time pastor of a church here at Kalamunda in Perth, Western Australia, and on my days off, I still shear sheep. I've been shearing sheep since I was about 19 years old, so over 20 years now, and so I love getting out and about and keeping my hands on the tools and being from one flock to the other flock.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Well, I got to say, Brady, you're one of the most Aussie pastors I've ever met in my life, because you were a shearer, your dad was a shearer, you met your wife in the pub when she was a barmaid. I mean, it's the most Aussie tale, and then you guys both found Jesus, found faith, and now you're still shearing sheep on your days off. Some pastors play golf, some pastors go surfing, you have all these different interests. You shear sheep. I just love it, mate. You just resonate so much with Australians.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you real, I reckon. Out there, hard days work, good days pay. So I love it. Yeah, no, it's good fun.
For someone like myself who's a bit of a city slicker, I've never shorn a sheep. The closest I've come is I have clipped my cavoodle once, and my kids suggest that I never did that again. What's it like? What's it like out there shearing a sheep? How long does it take?
Well, it's not easy, that's for sure. They call it blood, sweat and tears for a reason, because sheep are known to bring out the worst in everyone, all of us. So it's not easy, but hey, look, a good shearer will shear a sheep within a couple of minutes, 2 minutes to shear an average sheep. So, yeah.
Wow.
So, Brad, for some of our older listeners, and I'm not one of them, but I've heard about a movie called Sunday Too Far Away, that old Jack Thompson movie about shearers and a big shearing team. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, seen that many times. Used to love on a Friday night with the boys, sometimes get kicking back, having a drink and watching that movie, when we were shearing.
It was pretty good, wasn't it? It was a really good time in Australian movies, wasn't it? Those 70s movies. To me, the actors were just more Aussie. They were more real and just more authentic, and it really captured Australian culture. Do you think that movie did capture the culture of shearers?
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, I think, what's that saying that Australia did ride on the sheep's back when it was. And I think it does. I think it does capture that out there in the dust and dirt. And I love that scene where he's driving to the shearing shed, going flat out, just about rolls the car. And
it was the old FJ Holden, mate. Yeah, he rolls it in the dirt in the desert because he falls asleep at the wheel.
Oh, no.
And then he's okay, gets out, grabs his bag and just walks to the shearing shed. Like, leave the car. There was no insurance. He was done. The car was gone. But it just does capture that old Aussie, and then he gambles all of his money away at the end of the movie as well, and loses it all after shearing for weeks and weeks. He just loses it all gambling. But Brad, your catch cry is shearing clips and spiritual tips. So Jesus is our good shepherd. We're all sheep, mate. So tell us a story or an illustration or something that you use as a shearer to help us understand deep spiritual truths.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. We are all like sheep. It's kind of frustrating that the Bible refers to us as sheep, doesn't it? In some ways, it's a bit alarming. But probably the best one, when I started doing hobby shearing, as in shearing pet sheep in the Perth Hills, one of my first clients was a lamb called Lucas, and he was Lucas, the toilet-trained wether. And he actually lived inside with this family. He had his portrait. I've seen his portrait hung on the wall of his painting. And he was well looked after. And, man, I didn't shear him in 2 minutes. It took me about 30 minutes because he was precious, so precious to his owners. And they always keep the fringe on the top. So he's got like a fillet, and he's always styled in perfect fashion. And but, the thing about Lucas is he was destined for a dinner plate. These people rescued him out off the road and brought him in. He was just lost, this lost Lucas, poor sheep, probably on his way to someone's dinner plate as lamb chops. But these people loved him so much that, you know what, he's now living in royalty. He gets fed 4 times a day. He gets a wonderful hairdresser known as a shearing pastor to come and look after him. And it just reminds me of that spiritual truth that we need a good shepherd, and how lovely for them people. But I know in my life, it was the good shepherd Jesus that rescued me from sin, that rescued me from self-destruction and brought me into the path of life. And so, we all like sheep have gone astray, but hey, Jesus is there to bring us in.
Brad, can I ask you, did the owners of Lucas put Lucas on their shoulders like the picture we see of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, carrying the little lambs around?
I wasn't there when they rescued him, but I like to think that they did. I reckon that would have been a beautiful picture.
I love it also that the owners see him as so precious, that they have his image up on their wall. I like to think that's a beautiful picture of how God sees us as well.
Love it. Absolutely. That's right. We're not just a random sheep. We are special. No one has our fingerprints, do they? We only have one set of fingerprints, and God knows us by name.
But Brady, you'd know, isn't it, in Australia, because my dad was a sheep farmer, so was my uncle, and, you learn to hate sheep, don't you, when you work with them? Yeah, they're really dumb, Phil.
Yeah.
They frustrate the heck out of you. Like one farmer said to me once, they'll find new and creative ways to die every day, sheep. So, and then you read the Bible, don't you, Brady, about how much Jesus loves us as his sheep, and he's so patient and kind. And it really does kind of speak to our hearts, doesn't it?
It really does. In fact, when I'm counselling or preparing couples for their wedding, for marriage, I say to them, have you ever worked with sheep together? Because if you can work with sheep in your marriage, you can get through just about anything. So, yeah, they do bring out the worst in us.
But do you bring out a sheep then in the middle? Like, I'm trying to think how I'll do that.
No, I haven't quite done that bit yet. But.
I love it, mate. Little Lucas. So have you visited Lucas lately and chopped his hair?
Yeah, probably about 6 weeks ago might have been. I was giving him his 6-month haircut. We do it a couple of times a year just to keep it really nice and stylish. So
what do they feed him, mate, a pet sheep? Do they just let him eat the grass in the backyard, or is he on a special diet?
No, he gets all sorts of different food by the looks of it. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets ice cream with chocolate topping at night and things like that. No, he's well looked after.
He sounds like he's living better than I am, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Oh, look, Brad, thank you so much for jumping in and giving us this encouragement this morning. I'm going to go and find a sheep, but I'm wondering if you might be able to send us a photo of Lucas so that we can pop it up on our socials. I'd love to see him.
Absolutely. I've got a few photos of Lucas. I can do that.
Beautiful.
And if our audience, Phil, want to find out more about the Shearing Pastor, he's all over social media. Just Google search the Shearing Pastor. Look for him on Instagram or Facebook or all the good platforms, and you can get some shearing clips and some spiritual tips from the Shearing Pastor, Brad Paterson. Brad, thank you so much for joining us on Rise and Shine today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.